Ukraine is on the cost of oil and gas, pushing up prices again and exacerbating the cost of living crisis. We can talk now to Richard Bamber. Richard runs as part of Anthony's Travel, a family-owned coach company. Richard, thank you so much for being with us. Can you just talk us through the predicament you're facing, the impact of those increased prices are having on your business?
Firstly, thanks for having me on. Our sympathies firstly go out to people in Ukraine. The situation is terrible, so we mustn't get carried away with the cost of things, because the human plight that what they're facing is far more excessive to the bills that we're having to put up with. The impact on ourselves has been it's quite drastic. Fuel has been escalating for a considerable time. Anyway, it started in September, but between September and December, we've seen a 15 pence a litre rise on fuel, and that's excluding VAT. Now, since the start of this crisis, we've seen fuel now go for a delivery that I'd taken in January, which was excluding VAT, 115 pence a litre. And now if we had the same amount of fuel today, the cost would be 155 pence a litre, excluding VAT. So on a delivery for ourselves, that's a £6,000 rise on one delivery. But fuel was rising beforehand anyway. The situation in Ukraine has just absolutely compounded the issue.
So what does that mean for your business? Is this sustainable?
It's not sustainable. The problem with the coaching industry is we're often lumped together with our friends in the bus industry, but in fact they receive a type of fuel duty rebate called BSOC. The coach industry doesn't receive that sort of rebate. So what we're stuck with is we give quotations that we're on contracts for 3 years with local authorities, county councils and so on, and our prices are just not keeping up. So it ends up now at some of the hires that we took on in good faith, and for clients, senior citizen groups and so on that haven't got the money to go and pay extra, we're now running some of these hires now either breaking even or running at actual loss. And if it carries on the same escalator that we're doing, it's just going to get to a point that we can't serve these runs anymore, because it's just not financially viable to do so.
Okay, Richard, stay with us if you would. I just want to get the thoughts of our panel. We've still got Richard with us, and I'd like to get your thoughts, Richard, on what you've heard from the panel today and whether you think that anything that's been suggested is going to make much difference to you.
There's a couple of things that were suggested, but I'm part of the RHA, which represents coaches. It represents the haulage sector and the van sector. I'd like to see a twofold approach. Firstly, the VAT cut, whilst that it would be very, very welcome by residents, domestic users, it certainly wouldn't be worth anything for businesses, as myself reclaims VAT. So we'd like to see for the residential users a cut in VAT, but the RHA are proposing a essential user rebate, which is for the van sector, commercial vans, for haulage, for coaches, of 15 pence per litre that they're able to reclaim. That would go some way to helping out on a short-term measure. We, as industries, we desperately need that duty cut to give us that competitive that we can operate again, we can operate successfully. If it carries on at a scale it's going, all the prices are going to go up, and we're adding to inflation. We're going to end up with delivery prices going higher and higher. The costs are just going to get out of control. So we definitely need an essential user rebate. And then going forward as a country, we've got to become more self-sustainable, and we mustn't become too reliant on other countries. We must look at the resources that we've got.
Okay, Richard, look, thank you so much for being with us, Richard Bamber, and all the best with your business. Thank you for being there. Now, something that Richard talked about there is not being too